Ladies and gentlemen, I have this guy here. Um, he's a guy who works with all organizations and he gives 110% with all organizations. I don't know how he does it, but when he gives you his information, hopefully he can dissect it and take it all apart. So give me introduce yourself and give me a background.
Hey, my name is Stone Johnson. I'm from Antigua. I migrated to Canada. I got landed in 1982. In Antigua, I played with in the Premier League with a team called National Superstars. It's not a national team, but National was the name of a bakery that sponsored the team, and the guys we played with the team was called Superstars. I also played in a village league with a team called Bingalongs. I played in numerous Sunday morning ghetto leagues, street boys leagues, street versus street leagues. That's in Antigua. So I was pretty much occupied with soccer. I moved to Canada. I got taken to Iere and Simba by Lawrence Williams, and there I met
What year you came to Canada?
The year I got landed was 1982. That's when I started. Yeah. Lawrence Williams took me to Iere. I played with Iere till 1985. I also played with Simba until 1985. Simba was Sundays. Iere was Saturdays and some evenings, Friday evenings. We trained Tuesdays and Thursdays. Um, that's till 1985. Then I trained and played and coached Simba 85, 86, 87. Then I went back to Irie, 87, 88, 89. We played in the Scarborough League. We
So
won.
Ari was the hookup for both Simba and Irie?
Yeah. As
Okay.
you know, Irie is also of Antiguan origin, just like me. So once we get there, it was an Antiguan culture. There were lots of Jamaicans
And
and
did
Trinidad.
you know him from back home?
We were not friends. I knew of him because he played football also. He played with a team called Jets in Antigua. He was the goalkeeper for a team called Jets. Glenn, I did not know in Antigua. Um, but the hookup was through my wife and Larry Weiss are friends. So me and Larry hooked up. And we lived in the same neighborhood. We lived in the Malvern and Pape area at the same time when I moved to Canada. So that was the hookup.
This big hookup that you had between Simba and Irie. Um, Selling the image that I already sold for you being 110 and stuff. How did that evolve where you end up in multiple organizations? For instance, I know you went West Indies, you West Side, but I realize now Simba seemed to be the common denominator.
Simba has always been common because Simba was Antiguan. Simba was basically of an Antiguan origin. You had Trinis like Les and Trevor and there were other guys in there, lots of the other Jamaican guys. But the sole driving force was of Antiguan origin, and that's the common benefit. That's the common benefactor that helps mold the team together. Yeah, and then I coached Simba. Simba was exciting. We had New York trips. We went to every Labor Day weekend. We'd be in New York doing the tournaments with other Antiguan teams. Yeah, I remember one year, 85 or 86, we won the tournament. And then 87, 88, I went back to Irie with Roland and some other guy, Mangi and Ken Wilson. We played in the Scarborough League.
Okay, now is that Scarborough that you mentioned in there? There's a rumor that you guys were undefeated season, but now we having question marks about that.
I don't remember being undefeated. We have lost some teams. As I said before, I remember there was an Iranian team. We were having a 1 minute silence for the earthquake horrors in Iran. And as soon as the game started, they bust 3 goals on us. So that's no, we were not undefeated. There was a team that said they beat us. I can't remember, but they said a team called Addis Ababa. out of Scarborough. They said they beat us in the Scarborough League. And then there was Home Men who knew beat us, but we beat them. We actually won the league by beating them. So that was a good comeback. Um, that was like an Estonian church team or something. The last time I played, the last season I played, I remember playing with Roland. We had one or two kids from the Flemington area. And you know Slacker?
Yeah.
He played with us too. And a Jamaican kid named Linton Chung, Leighton Chung or something. We had a good little knock until we went someplace. We went Mississauga to play some game, and few men got injured against Classic. I think that was the last time we played, yeah, because men were getting injured and men were getting tired. So that might have been about 1991. And Roland was the coach.
Okay.
Roland
So
and Junior played with us.
Junior who, McNeely?
No, Junior Bradford, Roland's son.
Okay. So that's important because whether it's Barbados, whether it's West Indies or whatever, we need to know when the club started. We need to know when
Yeah,
they end, if they do end. West Indies is still existing, so we don't have that problem. They are
yeah.
existing at the old boys, right?
But you know, when they build a small team, Iere was still training. There was a man named Blues was training us at one point there.
You're right, I know Blues. Yeah, Dennis Devonish, right?
Blues was trying to coach Irie. We still had a team doing things. That's why I can't remember. Think it was we played 91 or 92.
That you have the common denominators, Simba. You share your duty between Simba and Larry. Obviously, Larry seemed like he was there with you, right? Because I heard his name called in the '89 team. Uh, how did it happen where you branch off to the West Side and West Indies?
West Side and West Indies came from Simba aging. Old players were aging. And Shane, who played with Simba when he was much younger, had developed with a team called West Side, and they were playing in the Flemington League. Um, then West Side began to play the Simba League in the 90s. So guys like Shane Marshall, Dexter Gilmore, and Cookie, Frankie. I can't remember all the names right now, but with that, they were playing for Simba, and they were also West Side.
You always seem to be around the administration besides a player. What's the position you hold in Simba?
In Simba, administrative position, I had as coach, and on the field, I was a defense player, center half. In Iere, I was put into the position of right back and left back. Sticko had a dream of us, me on one side and Richard and Big Richard on the other side. So you could imagine us pounding down and going back and forth. So he put us in those positions, and we kind of cherish. We actually did cherish in those positions whenever we played. So I played
You,
right back and left back.
you said
Richard
Sticko?
Daniel. Oh,
Sticko, you
Stick
said?
Lewis. Yes, Sticko. Calvin Lewis.
Was he
No,
coaching the team?
no, he was not the coach, but he was one of the older heads in the reserve team.
Ostick played with the reserve team?
Yeah, he played both. He played both because he was here, but he always showed up every Saturday at Roslard and 15, yeah.
What year? What year was that?
82, 83.
Okay, so he was still here. Okay. Okay, so you played in Simba and Irie. You play Irie 85. You mentioned something about an
Yeah,
injury.
yeah. I had a broken wrist. Scaphoid fracture, they eventually called it. It took about 6 months to heal. So I really had to stop playing. I did play games with the cast on, and then I had to stop. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So now how do you end up West Indies? Because is it that West Side amalgamate with West Indies?
West Side West Side, the players, most of the players for West Side was also West Indies players. But West Indies went through a league problem where they had banned them for a year. So all the players played with West Side, and they played the Sunday Morning League with Simba. So now they had two games. West Indies we started in 95, 94, 90, 94 or 95. Um, then the same time West Indies we started, Dexter that invited me and Glenn Christian over to train with them because they figured we still young enough to play a certain thing up there part of it. So I played with West Indies. Then West Indies the same time, West Indies moved back into the TND 1 year, which was run by Bugs and Billy Jack. Then the following year now, when Lucky began to coach again, Lucky's brother asked me to come and be a manager with West Indies. And that was 95, the season 95. That season 95, West Indies now Lucky developed a youth team on the 21, and he played in the North York Soccer League. And West Indies had another team now, had gotten to the point, they had gotten to first division, and Lucky was also the coach. So now we are running two teams. Lucky trusted me as his right-hand man to manage, deal with registration, deal with setting up training, making sure everybody show up to training. And then we had a good thing going on. We had talent like hell. And that developed into to the point where it was like we used to train just down the road from where I live here, a field called Felsted, which is at Greenwood and Danforth area. And then we developed a lot of good things. We developed a camaraderie, we developed a relationship with Boggs, Billy Jack, and we had a good thing. And this is how West Indies. Then 95, 96, I began playing with West Indies old boys. I'm still playing. I played with them till I get tired. But the
Okay, so
football,
how did the affiliation with the Malvern take place? It later than that? Later down or within that same time span?
within that same size span, 90, I think within that same time span, Simba's still had a team. But the team now, the Simba team was basically now Dexter and Shane, they were running it. And with a few older heads from Simba. Simba guy is actually retired out at that time. So what happened, we now have, Weston has now developed a team in first division, and we had some extra guys, and we would bring them into the Sunday morning Simba League to give them experience. Because some of these guys had just moved to Canada, and we wanted to see how they could play. So me and Lucky played them in the Sunday. They didn't play at the West Side, because West Side was now huge. A lot of players were in the West Side. So the new players that come in, we throw them into the Sunday morning league as Simba. And then we come back and train as West Indies Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays. Then Lucky went on to coach George Brown. Donahue took over in 2000. And that went on for about two more years. Then Daniel left. I was still the manager. All this time I was still the manager. Then Donahue left to take care of his business. He had a jerk pen business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now with all this, I began playing with the old boys at Leacock and McGregor. So it's a whole big community now with West Indies. So Simba has now faded out. So it's all West Indies now. Even West Side has also faded out because the leagues itself, both sides didn't fade out. West Side, they formed another team and the guys began playing in the West End. So that, and they played on Sundays. So now I'm managing the West Indies team. I'm also playing with the old boys.
You know, I was just looking at the mystery between the West Indies and Malvern, right? Which West Indies and the Malvern Youth Club. And then you incorporate now before the interview Simba and Iere because of your affiliation. But now you're mentioning something different now, right? The Simba seemed like it went on and was a convenience to use the same players Even was Westside down at Flemington
Yeah,
at one time.
right, right. It was the same place. That was Shane, Dexter,
Wow.
Cookie, Frankie, a whole yeah,
So,
yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, you understand what I'm saying about this guy. So, go ahead.
Um, then I left that. As I said before, my son became interested in soccer. So I ended up with that organization from North Scarborough with Byron. Went to Toronto Eagles. Ended up being coach there within a matter of 2 days. Ended up being vice president there. Ended up being a referee there. Qualified referee, took sent me to referee school. So ended up being a referee coordinator there. Um,
Wow.
by the luck of it, my son went for a tryout with West Ham. They were just looking for players. He went with there's all the top clubs in the West End, Dixie, Oakville, and so on. And when they were after the end of the trial, they called my son's name. Everybody looked around. I want to know who the hell is this Mbeki Johnson, this little black kid. So we ended up going. He ended up going to England, which was a good trial for him, good education. Came back, and I know was somewhat. I was actually coaching girls now at the Toronto Eagles, and then my son now
Oh,
went
you
to
coach girls too?
yeah.
Okay.
Surprisingly, when I got my pre-B, they offered me a job to coach girls in Cambridge. I said, no, I can't do that. That's an hour going and coming back every day, hour to go and hour come back. I have to live in Cambridge. The guys who did the pre-B course liked what I was doing,
Mm-hmm.
but you see, learning to coach was helped. I met a Brazilian guy at the Toronto Eagles named Paulo Silva, and he taught
Yeah,
me,
Paulo Silva is, yeah, he's in it a long time.
yeah, the goalie coach. He's the goalie coach. He's also the head coach, and he taught me a lot of things. He showed me a lot of Brazilian information, a lot of
Yeah,
yeah,
he's a reputable guy in the town a long time.
yeah, yeah.
I
He's
think he have a coaching school.
hmm?
I think he
Yeah.
has this coaching school now.
No, he has a goalkeeping academy,
Oh,
and he's also part. He was also part of the Toronto Eagles. Yeah, so we got along. Then when okay, when the Eagles, when my son went to England, came back. He played at Wexford. I coached Wexford sometimes, some games when Mike. There was a guy named Mike who was the head coach there, and he traveled a lot, so he'd give me the team to coach on some occasions. Um, I think the biggest occasion was when the team went to the tournament with Nacional of Uruguay at Lamport, and everybody was surprised that they think the team would give us 6-0, but we held the team to 2-2. People were shocked at what the moves I made and whatnot for the this was like on the 16, on the 17 boys. Then my son now thinks he needs to move on. I think so too. So we joined the Lynx. He tried out for the Lynx. The Lynx kept him. And then 2009, 2010, 2011, I was with the Lynx. I became a chaperone coach with the Lynx. But there were black kids there who you had to watch them what they do. As I said, there was an incident we had in Florida where a bunch of them got arrested. Duncan Wild looked out for him. He also looked out for me. So whenever we went on trips, we went to one of the biggest trips we did was went to the Dallas Cup.
that's a big one.
Yeah, I was an assistant coach there at the Dallas Cup. We then
What age group was that?
he was on the 19.
Okay.
Dallas only goes up to under 19. The Dallas Cup's only go to under 19. So he was 18 then, but he was playing with the under 19 team. When the next year, I think it's 2011 now, he was playing on the 20 with the Lynx. They ended up in the finals. They also went on, and the championship was in Florida, in in an area outside Tampa Bay, Florida. Um, so I was like an assistant again, a chaperone assistant. But in that tournament, the under 20 girls team was also in the finals for the Lynx. I ended up coaching that girls team in the finals because Duncan and his assistant, the boys had reached the finals, and they didn't have, and the game was the same time on two different fields. So they were more concentrated on the men than on the 20 men.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they win a game, they go to the final. So they gave me the girls' team to coach. We ended up tying the game. The girls were happy like hell. The amazing thing about that girls' team, on the 20 girls' team in 2011, there were coaches from Ireland, coaches from Guyana. There's a guy from Guyana who coaches around. He's around here. I can't remember his name. They all came down to check out the players playing for that team. So after that, it was a big media blast and media and all such. I just took it for the day, guy. Just leave it alone. You know,
Yeah.
these are the kinds of things I went through with the. When I came back now, I said, "Whoa, time for me now to get grounded again." So I joined Malvern, and I've been with Malvern ever since.
So that's the expertise you bring to Malvern.
That's the expertise I bring to Malvern.
Okay, is Bugs there too with you, or you still
Bugs
there?
Bugs are there currently. Bugs took a break out. Bugs, we West Indies, we organized our West Indies. Well, there was a Malvern on the 18 team that finished themselves, and took the sponsorship, put them into on the 21 the Ontario Soccer League. For 2 years, we sponsored them. We got
Well, that was the
we
one
got
with
funds
Lasner.
to
That was the
sponsor
one
the
with
trial.
Lasner, right?
No, that was the one with Bugs and Joshua.
Okay.
Yeah, this was, and they did it for 19 and 20 until they weren't on the 21 anymore. And was the yeah, we West Indies funded that one for Malvern. That was a big connection for West Indies and Malvern. That was a team Bugs brought from U11 all the way up to U21.
Right, I remember coming to a presentation there a while back, and you know, so who's the
Yeah.
structure of Marvel? What's the structure from president down, or and are you just a coach, or are you part of the administration?
You know, with Malvern, I've always been I was a head coach. I was with a head coach until last year. I was head coach slash vice president. Lance has been the president. He was the last president. And there has been other people like Brendan Jones, Mike Gomez, and currently we have Grace. Grace. These are the people that currently part of the organ. But for the past year or so, we have just run a house league, and we have had some kids that enjoy. But to say the rep thing, we haven't done since 2017 or so. Yeah,
Boy,
it has been house league.
how many house league teams you have?
Um, last year didn't count. The year before, we had um we had U4s and U5s. We had about 20 something kids, and then U6, 7, and 7. We had 4 teams of about 8 kids each, and then U8, 9, and 10. We had 4 teams with about 8 to 10 kids each. So basically, we have run now with about 100 kids for the before 2019. Um, Last year we can't do nothing. We don't know if anybody's come back. Malvern is a community where people take serious interest in the kids about getting sick. So I don't know what's gonna happen when the COVID eases off.
So
Because
is there a competitor, other groups that's competing with that same geographical, with the kids in
yeah,
that area?
yeah,
And
yeah.
are you
The
guys willing to, and can you guys match it, or would you guys succumb to it?
Sri Lankan community is huge in Malvern now, and they have like 2 organizations within that same area. So, but the West Indian population, which has always been Malvern's community team, I don't see much of that happening. Most of those people have moved. The football people have moved to Ajax and Whitby. That's what I've noticed. Yeah. So the community area right now for football is the Sri Lankan kids. Um,
That's
there's lots of
that's the
they have the kids to do house league and develop right now. The West Indian community is not so much into soccer anymore, from what I see. It's basketball. Um, but for house league, you'll have a few, not really a big crowd anymore.
so
Yeah,
what does the future holds? That's what I'm saying. Like from how you breaking it down there, it look like unless Malvern comes up with some strategic marketing plan,
yeah.
the geographical areas staying, but the population isn't.
Yeah, we did try to do that a year ago. These guys joined us. They wanted to turn Malvern into a professional setup. This guy, he's an UK joined us, being a UEFA coach, an A licensed coach here in Canada. He wanted to set up like an academy and whatnot. He came around, but then he didn't see the turnout that's required. We had on the 15 team and on the 13 team and some on the 11 kids, and he didn't think that was enough, so he left. So we invited the best. Well, he wanted to develop his own academy in Malvern. We said no problem, come in, get the work done, and we did that, and that didn't work out. He left because he didn't see any money coming for his pocket. So this is the thing. So yeah, and then right after that, COVID burst everybody's bubble.
Okay,
So
so
we haven't done nothing
you
since
guys sitting
last
and
year.
come you guys gonna sit now and come up with a master plan, right? Knowing what you have, I guess you're gonna have to contact the parents and them, find out if the interest still there because this COVID took a long time.
It is a long time. But there we had some interest last year. There were a bunch of kids we still coach. We didn't charge them anything, basically nothing. We just because we couldn't book a field, so we can't pronounce that we're doing this. And we had some COVID regulations with each body. They had to sign some forms. We followed all that. And we had a few kids. We did some trainings on Saturdays only. Um, yeah. So this year, some of these people said they're interested again, but it's really not enough to say run a club. You would just be running one team,
Are you
just
getting
some ages.
satisfaction
So
from
it's
that
not.
though? Are you satisfied that you're working with the best
I
you
was
could get?
satisfied. Based on last year, I was satisfied with that, with what we did, because we kept, we kept the what you call it, we kept the system going in Malvern to say that we did, and people actually saw us. But this year, as you said, a strategic plan has to come out to invite people, tell them what the plan is, tell them who's going to coach, because everybody's now looking to see who's your coaches, what your qualified coaches are. Um, we people like me now gonna have to go back.
But for house
People are,
league, I don't see that being
uh, yes, it's people want to know that for house league. I found that out in Malvern. So now what we think we have need to do, even people like me have to go back now, and because when I did my PB back in 2002, all that stuff's now expired. So no, people now looking to see, and with all these regulations, they want to know if their son or daughter is going to come out to a qualified coach. So people like me now have to go do a license again, get a C license, a minimum C license, go do some more coaching courses. Between now and we looking forward to say July also. Between now and July, you just have to do one course and tell them you're doing it. The actual Scarborough soccer is requiring that people do that now. For people running house leagues,
well,
yeah.
that's also a money grabber too, grabber
For the
from them.
Ontario, it's a money grab for OSA. You're right.
Yeah,
It is
and
a
the thing
money grab.
is, I've been in it and I've backed out of it because, you know, unless that's what I'm saying, unless Malvern or your club could generate within the club, the rest rules and all these clubs, they're already intertwined with each other in terms of, the from all this area going all the way to OSA to CSA, there's a certain nationality still holding on.
Yeah, you're correct with that.
But what people don't realize is they can't stay in it forever. They're satisfied to know that they ain't let too much in. And whatever the rotation is,
Yeah,
that it is still somebody they can relate to so they can go back and have beers with or whatever, and they keep it tight.
and they keep it for long themselves. We are not going to be part of that. So this is why you see when I join these organizations, I know we're not going to be part of all that. It's quicker for youths get a US scholarship and then move from there, maybe get try a team in England. What we see in is what our community, if we see a talent, we push him out and tell him to go join us. We ask TFC to come look at a couple of players already. They never showed up. We had real talent with Bugs
Yeah.
team.
No, because
Yeah,
they have it already. They don't need to. What for? Because they're
yeah,
going to show somebody who's paying on the inside that they're circumventing what they promise.
yeah, it's true. Um, exactly. This is what happened to my son. Patrick Tober picked my son for TFC when he did that. When my son was 17, bring him and keep him for a tryout. Then next thing you hear, Patrick Tober had to go to Vancouver. Some white guy come in and cancel a bunch of them and bring in his own team
That's how
from
it
the
goes.
OSA. But you see, this is the thing we need to understand. Living in Canada and you're living in with the US now, you understand what historically black challenges are. So when we have historically black schools, black organizations, we have to humble and try and keep the organization going no matter what.
How you look at when you get involved in something, do you have a vision, even if you meet something existing? What do you take in your decision making to decide you want to be there?
What's my thinking? It's an organization. It's a Caribbean organization, most likely. And if there's camaraderie, if people welcome you, and if you get along with people, there will always be skirmishes and fights. But once you see they have a goal of maintaining a certain standard of football, a certain standard of living, because there's through all this football, there's a lot of educated people I've met in all these organizations. Simple or not, they might be playing Sunday league, but these are all bright people, and they all have families, and so it's very stable. My thing is to see an organization, see stability, and maintain the stability. It's not to just jump in and try and take over, or jump in and try and see what they can get the best of it. Because I remember with Iere, it was essential for us to organize, for Mangi to organize dance, and then we all show up and help. I learned that with Mangi and them. This place on Church Street there, we used to have dances with Iere, and we used to do a lot of things. An
Yeah.
achievement, and it's fun, Iere. The same thing with the West Indies. Billy Jack, Billy Jack, I don't know if you know him, Kenneth Brown, Billy Jack, he put a lot of soul resources into Malvern, and not into Malvern, into West Indies. So whenever he pulled off a dance, we worked 24 hours to get the dance going. With then we had dances with Magic, and then the bunch of us that always worked with him. He used a big promoter. But then you find out not only promoter, he put his time and spent a lot of money in registering players for West Indies over numerous years. And he's serious. So when you see people doing stuff like that, the only thing you can do is help organize and keep it stable and make sure it runs efficiently. So me and Lucky did that for years. But after a while, it does get after a while, you do need a change. I mean, Lucky did it from 95 till about 99. The youth, he created a youth team with Lucky, and we played in North York League. We were always in the top division, and I think the last 2 years we won the division. We won both cup and playoff and cup and league. This was in this was the youth, and then some of these kids ended up playing with West Indies, the senior team. Then West Indies, we created another team now with some real good players. Some came from Durham College, and then 1 year West Indies moved from the first division, and we won it and we went win the provincial and get promoted to provincial. Went to the provincial, and that was another chaos. That was like Irie back in 1982 when they were in Premier. The provincial division was a high division. Everybody, the players,
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yes.
yeah, other clubs and other players are importing players. played against teams like Markham and so on, and they had ex-professionals from Poland and whatnot, and we were actually well organized that we could actually take them to court to prove that these were professional players. And we won the case. They didn't ban Markham because Markham was a good organization from with the T&D, but who's West Indies to go and challenge them? And there were a lot of court cases we went through with West Indies, with Boggs, with Lucky, and there's a lot of fights with all kind of issues we see with the T&D. And
So Stone, I want to thank you for giving me the time and the information, and I wish you all the best.
yeah, man, thank you, Midget.
All right.
All right.